This episode of The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast post-show, is sponsored by, well, of course, you. If you want to learn more about how you can support the show, go to patreon.com/thearena_podcast. Hey everyone, and welcome into The Arena, multi-platform gaming news podcast post-show for episode 71. I'm your host, Expat, along with my co-host, Burly and Gaming on Twitch, and Turn-Based Carl. How you guys doing? Hanging in there?
Yep.
Yep.
The vodka's doing its job.
Vodka? I thought it was spiritual opium, Burly. You switched to vodka, huh?
It's vodka and mixed with spiritual opium. Makes it kick in faster.
Carl, what are we going to do, man? What are we going to do?
Hey, if it improves the quality of the show, I mean, I'm going to look at it.
What needs improving, Carl? Be more specific with me here.
Hey, man, look, you got to recognize you can always be better, right? You can't always be complacent. Things can get better, man.
Complacent? What does that word mean? I don't know what that word means. All right.
Year over year sales need to always improve every time. No.
We need more microtransactions DLC.
Loot
boxes.
Right. All right.
NFTs.
Oh, God.
Oh, God, no.
Okay.
So, maybe for other things, but NFTs I'm against.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to start the post show. There was an article in Forbes earlier this week by senior contributor to Forbes, Paul Tassi, and he's talking about how Sony is safe for the whole PS5 generation, but what about after that? So he goes into talking about, how PlayStation has a lot of exclusives that are going to be coming down the pipeline and all. But he does mention the fact that PlayStation really is going to have to change some of their arcane ways of doing things. Of course, he mentions Game Pass and how PlayStation really needs to figure out a way to have their own type of service, as well as he talks about when it comes to cloud-based gaming that Xbox and Microsoft really are working on and have that going on down the pipeline. It's going to be a really, really big part of their service at Microsoft, and Sony's really behind and lacking in that area. So I want to start Burly with you on this one. Do you agree with Paul Tassi here that Sony is safe for the remainder of the PS5 generation? What do you think? And moving forward, are they in any kind of trouble? What do you think?
I hate using the term safe. I think they will be fine through the generation because, like he does say in the article, they do have big titles coming through out the next couple of years we know of. You've got Spider-Man 2, which we all know will be huge. You've got Wolverine. I imagine that'll be huge too, going off the success of the Spider-Man games. You got God of War Ragnarok, whether we get this year or not. We'll see as time to tell. We got the Horizon sequel, and we have, I'm sure there are a bunch of other games we just don't know, and Sony has bought a lot of indies and smaller stuff like Housemarque, and I'm sure they're working on their next projects.
I was going to say they do have that new IP coming in May if it hits that release date, Forspoken. So
Forspoken,
right?
And they have their deals with Square. So you're getting, I think FF16 is PlayStation and PC only. So you've got that. Not to mention FF7 Remake Part 2. So they do have a good lot of stuff. Like, if you are a Sony fan, you've got stuff will be coming down the pipe. They'll be more in trouble. I don't know if I want to say in trouble. It's just like them and Microsoft are in two different markets. Microsoft is get you into Game Pass and play our games on whatever device you can that can do the Game Pass. And Microsoft is not about. They don't care if they don't care that I'm not on a Series X playing. They don't care if I play on my PC or my Series S or even on my phone. They just want me in the Game Pass. They just want me into the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Sony is, we want you on the PS5, preferably the PS5 or PS4 Pro, because we can't get the PS5s out like we want to.
Well, obviously, Sony is still, the traditional hardware market. Console sales are the big thing for them still at the moment. Which it's always been like that for them. I mean, ever since the PS1. So, but times are a changing, as you're saying. I mean, like Microsoft it's all about getting those subscriptions now and getting people into that ecosystem. It's not so much about whether or not PlayStation sells 10 million more units. Of course, they want to sell as many or more units as PlayStation, but that's not the do all and end all of it all. So,
yeah,
I think so. Yeah. Carl, what do you think, man? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Burly. If you have some more to say about this, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I just have a little bit more. Like Sony, I'd like them to have a good streaming service, but everyone needs to get it out of their head. This thing is never going to be like Game Pass. You're never going to get the day one Horizon or God of War Ragnarok or Spider-Man 2 go day one on there, and whatever I pay a month, that I get that. That is never going to happen. Will they give you, if you're the high tier on this subscription, Spartacus, give you a bit of a discount? I could see that, but I can't see them doing the game free. Sony doesn't have that kind of cash to easily do that, and they're in a different market comparatively.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I go ahead.
I was gonna say I want Sony to do some different things, try some different things. You can't just be stagnant and go set in the same ways. I'm wanting them to have them go back to indies. I want some more indies and double A's. Like Kano was just a great game. Give me more stuff like that where it's not a full price, heavy big full price, but it's such a good game at a lower tier price that everyone that you hear talk about that game is like, oh my god, you have to play this. You have to play this. They need to be doing more stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would help them is put games out, their exclusives, put them out on PC at the same time, which Microsoft pretty much does with all of their IPs. It goes to PC day one as well. But I just don't see PlayStation doing that. I mean, they're going to continue doing what they did with Horizon, what they did with God of War. It's going to take 1 to maybe 3 years before it finally comes to PC. And in that sense, it's going to be too late.
It's never going to go to PC day one. They are not going to do that because they are going to soak up to get as much people to buy on the PlayStation platform until they feel it's ready to go to PC. Like we're not going to really sell anymore on the PS5. Now let's put it to PC. Because a lot of people, I know some people that will buy, if they have a good PC, a really high-end PC and a PS5, they're just going to stop buying it on the PS5 and just buy it for the PC. So if they did day one, they know they'd be cannibalizing into their PS5 hardware sales as well as software on there, because people will be like, oh, if they're just going to do day one, why would I buy a PlayStation console anymore? I could just buy it, just keep my PC.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, Carl, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Are they safe? I mean, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, the PS4 generation was so huge for them. They solidified their user base for at least another generation without having to make without having to make even any changes. Not that they aren't, because they are. We see games coming to PC. PlayStation Now is going to become PlayStation's the codename Spartacus service, which is going to be something closer to a Game Pass, right?
Right.
Is Microsoft better positioned for the future market of games? I mean, I would say yes. Of course, we don't know what the future is going to hold, right? But they do seem to be trying these other avenues that we can see will be something that will be more lucrative, as far as like Game Pass cloud stuff running on your mobile phone, so you can play any game on there. Obviously day PC games, that's been huge. You can see, will Sony do, day one PC as a possibility? Because one thing you look at from last year is if you look at the top 20 games for the entire year, and none of the PlayStation exclusives were on it.
Right.
And Forza Horizon 5 was eked in there at number 20. But you got to imagine that's because of PC. There's no way that if it wasn't on PC day one, would it have hit that list of top 20?
Yeah.
So, there's the Sony C stuff like that, sales for, Halo and Forza Horizon 5, and say, well, maybe we should be doing this too, because it's just more money. It just means more money. There might be some people, like you say, who are going to buy it only on PC over PS5, but for every one of those, how many people do you get who would not have bought the game at all because they don't want to play on PlayStation? They're just a PC person.
Yeah.
Right. That market is so much bigger. So it could happen one day. Do they do day one type stuff on a Game Pass type service? I don't know. Right. But at what point are they looking at 25 million subs over at Game Pass and saying, do we want that too? Like, how do we get that? And once it gets to 50 million subs, which you could see happening one day, with the big moves like Activision Blizzard's purchase.
Oh yeah, with all those Call of Duty people. I mean,
do they want to? Yeah, exactly. Do they want to wait until Game Pass hits 50 million subs to be like, all right, I guess we'll also put our games on there day one? Like, you're really far behind at that point.
Yeah. Let me throw this one at you guys, and I mean, it's probably never, ever going to happen, but stranger things have happened before. Could you see a day where Microsoft buys Sony? And if so, how much would it cost?
I mean, I don't think they could, because I think even regulations wise, that would be too much of a consolidation of the industry.
Yeah, I think regulations would step in.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
And what would it cost? I mean, I don't know. We're talking about they buying all of Sony, like Sony Pictures, Sony,
well, the
TVs.
The gaming division for Sony is like huge. It's like in the top 3. It's like for biggest gaming things. Like I know Tencent is like number one.
Revenue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, PlayStation is holding up Sony right now, basically. Yeah. It's a cash cow. So, I don't know. I mean, if not this generation, obviously, but if in the next generation or the generation moving forward, if things don't go Sony's way, and say if a lot of their new exclusives tank, which I highly doubt, but anything could happen. Who knows?
It could happen if they put out bad products. That's the only thing I could see. Like if Spider-Man 2 launches, and like if Horizon launches horribly, God of War launches horribly, and like
let's just say that Spider-Man 2 launches like Cyberpunk did.
Oh God. Yeah, that would tank them.
Yeah. But I mean, that's not even possible, because I mean, Cyberpunk's launch was affected by, poor performance on the older platforms. Like that's not something that can happen, right? Like, the quality of the game was there if you enjoyed, if you were able to play it without issue. The game was really good.
Yeah, in those aspects, but just imagine. I mean, we're not wishing this on PlayStation or anything. We're just throwing hypotheticals out there. But I mean, just imagine if some of their new IPs or existing IPs just started tanking. I mean, then that might be a catalyst for something like maybe Microsoft to step in and say, "Hey, we'll buy you." But that's probably, like I said, like we probably all agree on this. It's never going to happen. But
I don't know what kind of like catastrophe would have to happen, because like they're almost Nintendo level of like fan base where people are just going to love what they do no matter what. Right. You know, because Nintendo can epically fail with the Wii U, and then they turned it around and
bounce right back with the Switch,
something different, and it's going fine. So you know, I mean, Sony's almost like, I want to say, maybe this might be weird, Apple in some ways, right? Of the industry, the gaming industry, you know, because maybe like Microsoft's like the Android, right? Because like Apple, like, they're not always the innovator. Like, you might think they are with some of their technologies, but a lot of times like someone else did it before and they're just doing it like better or in some ways. And they're just doing
Apple it. Apple puts a flashy spin on it.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's what Apple.
That's what I'm saying. So like Sony can do that. Like if they're behind on Game Pass, okay. But like, couple years down the road, if they want to, they can just pull the trigger and say, hey, guess what? Every one of our first party games are in there day one. And you know, everyone's just going to subscribe to the service. I'm getting the service at that point.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like, it's like, that's the thing. They can pull that switch whenever they want. And that's it. They're in the game again. That's all they got to do.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the other story I wanted to talk about for the post show. Obviously, Activision Blizzard, you know, they have been acquired by Microsoft, but I mean, it's going to be a while before the acquisition goes through, probably sometime during Microsoft's next fiscal year here coming up. But this has to do with the union story. This is from TechCrunch.com and Amanda Silberling. So I want to read some of this for you. Activision Blizzard won't voluntarily recognize the historic Raven Software Q&A union. So obviously these members, they had gone on strike previously. So let me read some of this for you. Last week, quality assurance testers at Activision Blizzard division Raven Software formed the first union at a major U.S. gaming company, comprising their 34-member unit. But last night, when this article came out, the gaming giant, which is slated to be acquired by Microsoft for $67.8 billion, announced that it will not voluntarily recognize this union. Now, the newly formed Game Workers Alliance must file a petition with the National Labor Relations Board to hold a union election. The union, working with the Communication Workers of America, responded to the news with the following statement. We, quote, we, the supermajority of workers at Raven Q&A, are proud to be confidently filing our petition with the NLRB for our union election. We are deeply disappointed that Raven Software and Activision Blizzard refused to uplift workers' rights by choosing to not voluntarily recognize our union in spite of our supermajority support. This was an opportunity for Activision Blizzard to show a real commitment setting new and improved standards for workers. Instead, Activision Blizzard has chosen to make a rushed restructuring announcement to try and hinder our right to organize. Once again, when management is given a choice, they always seem to take the low road. However, we are proud to file with the NLRB as we enjoy supermajority support for our union and know that together we will gain the formal legal recognition we have earned. Since the union represents a supermajority of Raven Software quality assurance testers, until unit member Ona Rongstad told TechCrunch last week that the union was confident that they would win their election. But now, even though the employees formed this union to represent the 34 quality assurance testers, Activision Blizzard thinks, quote, all employees at Raven should have a say in the decision, end quote, that's about 350 people. So anyway, we're trying to get these unions, and, you know, the gaming industry really needs to be unionized. I think that's my opinion. I think that's the opinion of a lot of people that are, you know, watching these companies and what's been happening the past few years. But I mean, Activision Blizzard not allowing this. I mean, I don't know, man. I think that they're going to get the unionization at some point, whether it's after Microsoft finally takes over. But I mean, they formed this, and I'm sure it's going to go through at some point. But Activision, Blizzard not recognizing it, it's pretty low. I don't know. What do you guys think of this, man? Carl, I'll start with you on this one.
I'm not very hopeful because the unionization in America is in a very precarious position. I was actually once part of a union drive at a company I worked for.
Okay,
we were trying to do it, and it was the cable company that I worked for. I don't care. I'm going to talk about who it is. It was Cablevision at the time, and they've since been bought by another company. Optimum is their service name. They were bought by some European company. I even forgot the name of it. Yeah. One of the depots in, I think, Brooklyn, successfully voted for their union. This lies in like the bigger problem is that like each depot, right, of us in different areas, which comprised of, I don't know, maybe we had like 50 some odd techs, right, was voting for our own union, right?
Yeah.
We weren't voting collectively across the entire company. So it makes it much more difficult. So they successfully voted to start a union, right? But what that means is now you have to form a collective bargaining agreement, right? But in the time that once you've done this, your company can delay that and not do that, right? So these guys are raving. They decide we're going to do it. Now Activision has to agree, and they have to bargain, and they have to come to some sort of deal, right? Yeah. That can take, based on the law, they can push this out for years. To the point where what will happen is in that time, which is what happened at Cablevision decided, because hey, those guys at Brooklyn, we're gonna start suspending their benefits, right? So they suspended some of their benefits, and everybody else in all the other depots, we're giving you guys as raises.
Yeah,
and that's what happened. So I got a raise because they unionized there, and that it should to convince people at our depot not to vote for union. And of course, we didn't get enough votes. We couldn't get enough votes, so we didn't even go to a vote, actually, because we didn't think we had enough support, so we didn't do it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened with that in Brooklyn. I imagine at some point they may have never even gotten a bargaining agreement, and they may have disbanded the union, because that is their goal, is to make it seem like your union is garbage and worthless and it's not achieving anything, because years pass by and they've got no agreement, and you're going to have to start paying union dues before you get anything. And this is what they do. So you don't have enough power. Even it's only 34 employees, they said, 34, in the QA. Yeah. It needs to be every QA tester across all of Activision Blizzard. Yeah. Right? That's what it needs to be.
Yeah. Burly, what do you think?
Yeah. See, I don't have much experience because I've never worked in unions or places of unions. But like, yeah, Activision's gonna do stupid shit to just try and stop this. They're gonna do like, I'm taking like with what Carl said with what happened there, but like the whole thing, I'm taking the joke from The Simpsons where they when the power plant, when they were trying to unionize and get their dental plan back, they tried to give them a keg of beer for every union meeting to get rid of the dental plan. It's a lot cheaper, one keg of beer compared to paying for dental. So it's like, they're gonna do shit like this. They are gonna do shit like they will if they see the QAs are starting to unionize. They're going to start rewarding another division to be basically, don't unionize and we'll give you a little extra money, or we'll give you an extra day off, or whatever they're willing to throw.
Do you think Microsoft would be any different when they do step in and take over?
They're going to be a little bit. They're going to be a little bit better. I don't know how much better, but they know there's so much heat on this. You have to go in and act like the White Knight for the first couple of months and be like you're being good behind the scenes and behind closed doors, whether or not how good they're going to be. Because I know Microsoft, I know, has had some stuff with unions in the past, with just the tech side of things. I don't know how it is now, but I know back in the day, I remember hearing stories.
Yeah.
And Carl's daughter is like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, unionize now. Unionize now.
Unionize now. Yeah.
She's got the signs. She's carrying signs now.
Yeah.
Can't cross that picket line with a cute baby standing there.
Yeah, she's like, enough with that corruption. Let's unionize this.
Yeah, I don't foresee Microsoft being that much better on it. I almost see them doing like, they're going to come in. They're like, yeah, we'll give you all this great stuff. We're going to make things so much better for you. But like,
and raises.
But like, are they going to say everyone join a union? Like, they're not, because it's just in America, corporations don't do that. They just don't. They don't want it because they don't want to have to deal with it. They want to have that power. They will at sometimes see and give you a lot of good things, benefits and raises. And all of that is really to avoid the idea. Oh,
God. She doesn't like what you're saying. She doesn't
like the union talk. Yeah.
Quiet. All of that is to avoid being forced to bargain at a later date, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And with that
was long.
With that, I think we're gonna end the post show for this episode, for episode 71 of the Arena Multi-Platform Gaming News Podcast. So until our next episode next week, I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burly of Burly Gaming on Twitch and Turn-Based Carl. So we hope you all have a great week, and we hope to catch you in the next episode of the podcast and the post show next week. So have a great week, and take care, everyone. Peace out.